Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight, March 26, 2014, 7:30, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. We're going to start with a pleasant item, first one on our list for tonight on our agenda. As many of you know, we have the Literacy Center here a few doors down. It's been here since approximately 2010. What people don't realize is how much work came into getting the Literacy Center here. There was legal work, there was carpeting, there was painting, there was getting a location. There was a lot of work getting the bookstore, getting the Literacy Center ready from the Literacy Center. A lot of work went into it. And we have with us tonight somebody who's going to get an award on behalf of the Literacy Volunteers of Sullivan County, our own June Barrett. June, I just want to say that nobody really knows how much work went into getting that place going, what a treasure it is. You know, when it's open, they have computers, they have books, it's a beautiful setting, and it's just a privilege to have it here in Bethel. We don't realize what a treasure it is. So, and all the work that you did staffing it and working it, we're just so proud to have you. And I was so grateful we had a fundraiser for the Literacy Center. Once a year they have a fundraiser, and I was just honored to accept this plaque on your behalf. So if you would come up, I'd like to present it for you and ask the town board to step up. I do, I have it on my phone. Come on. Here, let's get all close. We've missed you. It's been quite some time.
We have
This plaque is presented to June Barrett. Thank you for your many years of service. As a board member, which is a Literacy Volunteers board member, we are grateful for your dedication and commitment on behalf of the Literacy Volunteers of Sullivan County, and this was in February 2014. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd just like to say a few words, if I can, please. So appreciative of the honor, this honor, and I have to say thank you to the Literacy Volunteers and the Board of Literacy Volunteers. Wonderful people doing wonderful things. And also, I think, as Dan just said, worked very, very hard to get our Literacy Center and the Past Perfect bookshop set up down here. I know you worked very hard with me, the board, always on my side, working with me on that. We still need volunteers, so pass the word around. Only a few hours, and you're surrounded by beautiful books and quiet and peaceful, and get away from the hubbub for a while and come in and volunteer for a few hours. Call 794-0017 or call me and I'll let you know how to do that.
Very good. Thank you, June.
You're welcome.
You got pictures there? We're all good? You got everybody in there?
One more time, yeah, that would be great.
You gotta go through the process of this again.
That's good. Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Very nice, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, honey. Thank you so much. You and your family.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
thank
got
you.
this for you. We're going to start the business items on our agenda, which is 1A, our bookkeeping section, highway fund budget modifications. This would be 1A. I just wanted to say that it comes a need early in the year here to do a budget modification because it's been a bad winter It's been a brutal winter. It's been about 8 degrees colder than last winter, average,
Still cold.
every day.
Still winter.
And the snow, as far, the fuel is up, sand is up, salt is up, equipment is up. Everything is up this year. It's been one of the worst winters that I've had for at least over the last 8 or 9 years as far as snow removal and the need to do our roadways. So the right thing to do is to look at our budget now and see if any adjustments have to be made. I am going to suggest one for tonight. If you look at the next page, you'll notice 5142.4, that's our snow removal contractual. We have exceeded that amount by $6,000. And it's only end of March, even though it doesn't feel like the end of March. It's only the end of March, and we need enough in the snow removal code to get through if it has a bad storm coming up, or November and December. So I think the important thing, again, is to recognize it now and make adjustments now, so the highway knows what they're working with for the rest of the year. Next page, I indicated where we're over, just as a comparative to last year. Salt is up about $10,000. Fuel up $10,000. Miscellaneous expenses about $3,000. Change blades, $3,000. Tools are up $3,000 compared to last year. Sand, we've had to purchase sand, because we needed it, $22,000 over last year. Approximately $51,000 more in expenses than we did last year, up until this point. A lot of municipalities are facing the same thing. They have exceeded their budgets, and we have exceeded our snow removal contractual, so I would suggest we make an adjustment. And again, winter may not be over, we still have November and December. My suggestion would be that we look at the most, that has the most in it, would be the 5110.4, which is our maintenance of streets. That's what we use to do the paving and repairing and the culverts and that kind of thing. I would suggest to get through the end of the year, we would, without having to do this again, we would probably need $75,000 at the maximum to get through till the end of the year. So I would suggest we do have enough in our maintenance of streets to take it right from that code. And just so the board is clear, that doesn't mean we can't pave. We still have $340,000 of CHIPS money is what we got last year, which is a minimum. We're hoping it goes up a little bit. A couple years in the past, we have not exceeded what's left in the line item, because we have $400,000 in that line item. So my suggestion tonight is to go take 75 from there, so you'll have 325 in that code still, which if careful, it should be fine, and we'll evaluate where we are in September, and, as we go along. But that's why we do this every month, because if we recognize something, we have to address it now. Is there any questions or comments? I'd like to get approval to do the transfer of these codes.
Make a motion.
From Bernie?
Second.
From Vicky? All in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you, and I'll be making those modifications. We're gonna go to our town board portion of the agenda. 8A is a proclamation, which would probably be easier if I just read it. Dear Supervisor, recently the United States Conference of Community Leaders and the Corporation for National and Community Service announced the second annual Mayor's or Supervisor's Day of Recognition for National Service to be held on April 1st, 2014. This event gives mayors and town supervisors across the country the opportunity to highlight the great things national service is doing to help solve local problems. This year, the goals are to highlight the impact of national service on our community, thank individuals serving in AmeriCorps and Senior Corps programs. Full details about the Day of Recognition can be found on the attached fact sheet. In Sullivan County, there's the 280-plus RSVP volunteers in the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, serves hundreds of seniors and many more disadvantaged county residents. We actively engage national service members and volunteers in efforts to address important community needs. Notable contributions made by National Service volunteers and members locally include the more than 280 RSVP National Service volunteers in Sullivan County, over 30-plus partner agencies supporting services of volunteers, and they also provide imperative services throughout the county, such as medical transportation, Meals on Wheels, telephone reassurance to our most frail elderly population. They're asking us to consider joining in the nationwide celebration of Supervisors' Day or Mayor's Day in recognition of this national service. Naturally, we're excited about this opportunity to shine a spotlight on the value of national service through the RSVP program in Sullivan County and stand ready to work with you in your efforts to participate in the Day of Recognition for National Service. And it won't take much of your time. If you could issue a proclamation or write an op-ed, that would be fantastic. Please take a look at the fact sheet for more ideas on how to honor your local volunteers. In fully support of this opportunity to do this resolution, which is self-explanatory, so I'll read it, bear with me for a moment. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges. Whereas the nation's leaders are increasingly turning to national service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet city needs, town needs. Whereas national service participants address the most pressing challenges facing our cities, from educating students for the jobs of the 21st century, supporting veterans and military families, to providing health services and helping communities recover from natural disasters. Whereas national service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for those who serve. And whereas national service participants serve in more than 60,000 locations across the country, bolstering the civic, neighborhood, and faith-based organizations that are so vital to our economic and social well-being. Whereas national service participants increase the impact of the organizations they serve with both through their direct service and by recruiting and managing millions of additional volunteers. Whereas national service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in the community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. Whereas national service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them in their future's endeavors. And whereas the Corporation for National and Community Service shares a priority with mayors nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, strengthen communities, it is joining with the National League of Cities, City of Service, and mayors across the country to recognize the impact of service on the Day of Recognition for National Service on April 1st, 2014. Last bullet. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Bethel Town Board does hereby proclaim April 1st, 2014 as National Service Recognition Day. Encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of national service in our town, to thank those who serve, and to find ways to give back to their communities. I support it. I think it's well written and self-explanatory. Questions or comments from the board?
I'll make a motion.
From Lillian?
Second.
From Dawn? All in favor?
Yes.
Is anyone opposed? We also have an 8A1. Vicki, if you would do the honors on 8A1, make sure they can hear you.
Okay.
This is a, this is a letter, Rita, that's gonna be sent to Senators Gillibrand, Schumer, and our Representative Gibson. And it reads, there are several little-known programs around this area and across the country that provide lots of benefit to millions of people. They are the Foster Grandparent Program, Senior Companion Program, and RSVP, Retired Senior Volunteer Program, collectively known as Senior Corps, related to AmeriCorps. Each of these efforts involves volunteers over 55 years of age that provide vital support in our town and county. Through RSVP, seniors across the country are connected to volunteer opportunities with over 65,000 local organizations. Not only does RSVP ensure that senior volunteer skills are best matched to a local organization, It also guarantees that volunteer time is put to use satisfying whatever unique needs their communities may have. Additionally, senior volunteers reap the mental and physical benefits of remaining active. In the current 2015 budget proposal, each of these programs will be cut, RSVP suffering the worst with the elimination of 66% of its federal funding. These cuts fly in the face of common sense. These programs save money by keeping other elderly out of long-term care facilities or helping children catch up with their peers academically. RSVP locally helps over 41 organizations throughout our county and thousands of seniors as well as community residents. Our medical transportation and Meals on Wheels is part of the RSVP program that will suffer the most. As more and more Americans reach 55 years of age, we need avenues where they can participate and help solve problems in their communities. These senior core programs are part of that solution. I urge those in Congress to oppose this aspect of the administration's 2015 proposed budget. And this will be sent from our town supervisor, Daniel Sturm.
Questions, comments?
I would like to make a motion to approve sending this.
I'll second it.
Okay, could we make this from the town board? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Motion by Vicky, second by Lillian. All in favor? I didn't realize till this afternoon, after I read this, that how important it is they're trying to cut to whatever percent it was, 66% from these important programs. So, I think it's important. And I know that they will appreciate getting this from the Bethel Town Board as a way to help. Okay, thank you, Vicki. Next, we have Planning and Zoning Board Training this Saturday, March 29th. Briefly, it's siting communication towers in the scenic Upper Delaware River Valley. It's a free workshop sponsored by the Upper Delaware Council. It's available to local government officials, planning and zoning board members, all citizens interested in maintaining the beauty of the Upper Delaware landscape while providing needed telecommunication services. For those who live, work, and play here are invited to this free event to discuss latest technologies, municipal authority, and tools for negotiating with the industry. Saturday, 29th, Tustin Town Hall from 9 to 12. I did note that a continental breakfast will be provided, and they could get continuing education credits. So I would suggest that we offer our town board and zoning board and the credits for this program.
The planning board and the zoning board.
Planning board and the zoning
Okay.
board. And we'll do the next one also. DEC is scheduling webinars on a streamlined process for doing the EA environmental assessment forms. Sounds very handy. And these are the days that they're gonna have the webinars. I'd also ask, since there is a revised model EAF, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the forms are all new.
They're all new, and I think it would be a good training for our boards as well. Questions, comments? I'd like to authorize credits for these two educational
Have we
opportunities.
decided how many hours of credit time?
I
This
would
is a
say
3-hour
this one's
one?
3 hours for the first one for the,
They usually give more than an hour for an hour at a time.
Okay,
3 is usually about 4 hours of
Okay.
training.
so 4 hours for this one? Okay.
that's fine. For the,
That's the way it usually is, I don't
Okay.
know why, but.
4 hours of training for the one on Saturday, if anybody chooses to go. And this is a webinar for an hour and a half. I would say 2 credit hours for the EAF. If they participate in the webinar, just bring us documentation. 2 hours. Questions, comments, motions?
I make a motion to approve?
Second.
Second by Lillian, all in favor? Anyone opposed? 8C, noise permit application for Yasga Road Productions. This is a noise permit, Town of Bethel Code, Chapter 220. It's an application fee of $25. Yasga Road Productions, which we're all familiar with. The contact name is Gerald. It's gonna be on Yasga Road, Bethel, New York. It's an outdoor recreation event, which is the Woodstock weekend this year, 8/15 through 8/17, August 15th through August 17th. They're going to have amplified music and a public address system. As they did last year, we are asking that they have the tilted speakers toward the ground. Volume control, turned away from, the speakers should be turned away from adjoining residences and any ag buildings. This is a noise permit application which is required when they have a planned noise event. They have received a special use permit for this year for their event. So these were some conditions that were suggested by the planning board, and they also worked out great last year as far as I'm concerned, with no problems at all, and I wouldn't expect anything different this year. So on that, I would entertain a motion to approve this noise application.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Lillian, second by Dawn. All in favor? And no one opposed. Just so the board knows, it starts on Friday. The noise permit is from 10 in the morning till 2 a.m., similar to Mystery Land, kind of. Saturday, same thing, and then Sunday, it goes from 10 in the morning till midnight. That's what they asked for, and I don't have a problem with it. I just want to wish them good luck. Hopefully, they'll have a pleasant, successful reunion event this year. No problems last year. 45th year is coming up, that's right, 45th year anniversary. LoSAP, Service Award Program, this is 8D. What we have in front of us is the Bethel Volunteer Ambulance Corps has put down their points that they've earned all year. I have reviewed it. I went over it with our building inspector, BJ, who is in the ambulance corps. I don't have any problems or questions on any of the points awarded to our ambulance corps volunteers. Questions or comments? We, as a board, we have to approve the service award program list of the workers for the volunteer ambulance Bethel.
I make a motion to approve that.
No.
Motion by Vicky,
I'll second it because I know,
by Lillian. Yes,
I know
Lillian?
most of these guys work really hard there.
It's not easy.
They do their best, it's not hard, it's not easy. People complain if they don't get there quick enough, but they gotta remember that they have to leave their jobs and leave whatever they're doing, get a crew together, and they try, well, you could say they saved my husband's life many years ago.
Very good.
So I'll make the motion, I'll
So we
second
have
it.
motion seconds. I'd like to go to 8E, which is a resolution to settle the assessment litigation. Rob, if you would do the honors and just give the board an overview of what we're proposing here.
Sure, and there's a memo that I prepared too that I'm not gonna read, but
Okay.
it sort of explains things in a little more depth than what I'm gonna tell you now. This involves a tax appeal by the owners of the real property that comprise Camp Chickasaw, the summer camp. They have filed tax appeal petitions every year since 2008 through this year. Two of the older cases have been dismissed because they've been so old, but the other ones are all pending. The big issue here was that if the matter went to court, and we were scheduled to go to trial this month on the 19th, if it had gone to trial, the town stood to lose a significant amount of assessed value for these parcels, as well as a repayment obligation that could have been over $125,000. Not just the town, that's all taxing jurisdictions, the county and the school district as well, but the town's portion of that is fairly significant. We were able to agree to a settlement by which we would repay the most recent year's tax refund, and in an agreement to reduce the assessment on the two parcels in question. The amount of the town's repayment obligation is somewhere over, a little over $1,000, I think, Dan, I don't remember the exact figure.
If I was doing 2013 has to be paid back,
Yes,
I have a $2,500 town loss of dollars.
okay, so the town will have to
Right,
refund about
$2,500 is the town, doesn't include the county or the school.
Of course, on a going forward basis, the assessment's lower, so the amount of tax that they pay will be somewhat lower, but it's not a significant reduction, at least in my opinion. In lieu of going to trial and running the risk of having some significant reduction in the assessment and the obligation to repay back any overfund of payment of taxes, I recommend that you accept the settlement.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I got this on Friday and I've been reading it ever since, and I do believe it's best to settle now than wait and pay a lot more money.
I agree.
And Rob, I know you went back and forth quite a bit, which is probably normal for this sort of thing with the opposing counsel. But I believe that if we had to go back to 10, 11, and 12, which is where the lawsuit started, if we had to repay that, it would probably be a loss of over $13,000 just to the town. And they agreed not to go back that far. Is that right?
That's part of the settlement, that's
Right,
correct.
so we're only paying back whatever the assessment is for 13, and on a going forward basis, they'll get that reduction. So I think we did pretty good, and again, Rob agrees. So we do have a resolution. Is there any questions from the board about this settlement? I believe it's proper to read the resolution, Rob, which I'll do now. Resolution of the Town Board, Town of Bethel, authorizing the settlement of litigation. Whereas it appears that Camp Chippewa Realty Company LLC and Silver Lake Realty LLC are owners of real property located within the town of Bethel, and both commenced special proceedings pursuant to Article 7 of the real property tax law, seeking to reduce the tax assessments for 2 lots owned by them individually. Said lots are identified petitions filed on behalf of each owner. Town of Bethel and the town assessor have been named as respondents in the case. Whereas the petitions identify 2 different lots which comprise an operating seasonal camp, and the proper valuation of these 2 lots remains the subject of the current tax appeal. Whereas a settlement of the litigation has been proposed, and a copy of the proposed settlement documents are attached to this resolution, and which documents have been duly signed on behalf of the petitioners. Whereas the proposed settlement is summarized in a memorandum dated March 2014, which memorandum was prepared by special counsel to the town and recommends acceptance of the proposed settlement terms. Whereas the Town of Bethel Town Board declares itself to be lead agency for the purposes of seeker for the action completed by this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of the Town of Bethel hereby determines it is in the best interest of the town to accept the terms and conditions and recommendations of the proposed settlement as set forth in the memorandum of special counsel referenced herein. Further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Bethel, the town assessor, and special counsel are hereby authorized to design and deliver any such documents necessary to achieve settlement and to complete any remaining tasks required to complete the settlement process. Be it further resolved that the implementation of the settlement is a type 2 action under seeker. No environmental review is required under seeker. Questions, comments, motions?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Vicky to
I'll-
approve.
I'll second it.
Second by Lillian. Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sturm?
Yes.
Mrs. Simpson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Duly adopted, 5-0.
Thank you. And I just, for the board's information, there's not many cases left, Rob, is that correct? I don't want to get into any individuals, but we don't have many left in regards to tax appeals.
Pending cases?
Yeah.
Not that, I mean, Marge would know better than me, but as far as I know, there are none. I mean,
Which
there's-
is almost
I think-
amazing considering what we've been through the last 3 or 4 years. We had quite an amount of assessment cases.
I think I have 1 left.
Okay, well, that's excellent. So I'm pleased about that. Brief correspondence from Senator Bonasek's office. Dear Ms. Sheehan, thank you for the resolution from the town of Bethel asking me to support Senate Bill S-2000, which would require video cameras to be placed on the entrances and exits of all facilities run by the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities. Be assured that I voted in favor of this bill when it came before me in the Mental Health Committee. Please note, should this bill come before me on the Senate floor, I will vote in favor of it. If I can be of any further assistance, please do not hesitate to contact my office. Receive and file motion. Bernie, second by Dawn, all in favor?
Yes.
That's good news from Senator Bonasek on something that's been in the pipeline for over 3 years, this particular law, and it really should be passed. based on, you know, and the recommendation from the town board really does help. I think we'll see, but it should help. Secondly, another one similar, dear Ms. Sheehan, thank you for your recent correspondence concerning the town of Bethel's support of citing the first two Class 3 gaming casino destination resorts in the Catskill region. Please be advised, as sponsor of the legislation to create these Class 3 resort destinations, I have and will continue to advocate for 2 in the Catskills. If I can be of any further assistance, please do not hesitate to contact my office. Again, that's pretty good news for those that are in favor of this, that he would advocate for 2. Senator Bonasek, questions, comments, or just receive and file?
Motion.
From Vicky, second.
Me?
Lillian, all in favor?
Yes.
Just to receive and file the correspondence. Monticello Central School District. Rita, if you would do 8H.
Sure. We have correspondence from the Monticello School District Safety Team. There is a high school senior named Jesse Conklin, who is obtaining his Eagle Scout Award, and he is undertaking the project of providing safety buckets for all the classrooms in case they have an emergency that keeps their students and faculties locked in their rooms. He is accepting donations until the end of April, and he has met with the safety team, and they have put together a list of items that are needed for each bucket. He's putting together 120 buckets, and I have a list in the back if you know maybe some volunteer organizations. There's things on there like gauze and gloves and hand warming little packets. And so if you'd like, you can drop off the donations at the town hall, and I'll make sure that they get them. So I think it's an interesting project, and I wish him well.
Thank you, Rita. I would entertain a motion to receive and file correspondence. Dawn, second I heard from Vicky, all in favor? And we would help any way we can for this young man that's trying to get his Eagle Scout. Thank you, Rita. 8I, Town of Bethel Camp Code, Chapter 120, Camping. I just want to start off a conversation, a discussion. Briefly, the Camping Code, Section 120. In 2008 and 2009, the town board adopted some necessary and comprehensive Bethel Town Code updates. It included revisions to many sections of our code. Ethics, animals, sections, games of chance, the noise law, the racetracks, snowmobiles and ATVs, solid waste. These are all ringing a bell, right? A little bit, they're all ringing a bell. Subdivision, zoning. Also, we did new laws like the expressly prohibited use, the fracking law, road use law to protect our town roads, and the cell tower section, all new sections of our code and updated. We have not done any revisions or updates to our camping section since at least 2008, when there were a few minor word updates, but no real changes. We kind of stayed away from that one, camping code. Some camping sections are very strict. They're more so than the state health departments and other towns. Some sections are not strict enough, some would say, in some areas. We have learned over the last few years that some clarifications and revisions are needed. I have asked our planning board chair, Dan Gettle, Vicky Simpson, and our town attorney for the town, Rob McEwing, and our planning board attorney, Jackie Wicciani, to join me in getting this process at least started sometime in April. Start of the process. So what I'd like to do is meet in April, review code by code, line by line, like we do any zoning code, and then make recommendations to the town board. And then after a series of public hearings and revisions, then we can entertain changing this or updating this law. So we don't need any motions tonight, but is there any questions or comments about this process from the board? It's all good? Again, we'll start sometime in April when everybody's available. Dan, that'll be all right. We'll have to figure out a day that you're available, and we'll start the process.
And when it stops snowing.
when it stops snowing. And then when it rises above 25, then we're going to,
No way, yes.
and again, it's up to the board to make these revisions, it's just a start on the process. 8J, we have brief correspondence from Smallwood Monga Valley Fire Company about an ATV run. On Saturday, June 7, 2014, Smallwood Monga Valley Volunteer Fire Company will be holding its 7th annual ATV run. This ATV run is being held in order to raise funds for the renovation of our firehouse. Excuse me, the run will begin at approximately 7 a.m. and last most of the day. Run will start and end at the Smallwood Firehouse. We expect up to 200 riders. The route will encompass property throughout the town of Bethel, including the Sullivan County Airport. We have received permission to use all of the property that the riders will be crossing. Members of our fire company will be at all road crossings to assist the riders in getting across major roads such as 17B. It would be appreciated if you could alert the constables of our run so that they may be prepared for increased traffic. Should you have any questions regarding the ATV run, please do not hesitate to contact myself or the chief, Tim Maury, etc., 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 Robert Bonakai, the co-chair of the event. I entertain a motion first to receive and file correspondence. From Bernie,
Second.
Lillian, all in favor?
Yes.
It's a yearly standard event. We alert our constables, they make some money for the firehouse, etc. Any questions or comments? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Lillian, second.
Second.
By Vicky, all in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? If anybody asks, they will not be using our new conservation easement property as they have in the past. They're gonna stay off of that and use the other property behind the golf course. So they're gonna stay off of that. So we shouldn't have any problems there. We have we're gonna skip over 8K because that's something I think we are gonna have a need to go into a brief executive session at the end of our town board agenda after public comment. So I'd like to table 8K until we get to the executive session, so we'll come back to that. Okay? And we're gonna do 8L. Mr. Scott, how are you?
Very good, Mr. Stern, and how are you and the board doing?
We're doing fine, thank you.
And everyone here tonight.
Tonight, we're gonna be discussing, if you could help us out there a little bit, the traffic order for Bethel Woods, Mystery Land event, Memorial Day weekend. We handed it out to the board, last town board meeting 2 weeks ago. And it's just to summarize, portion of Best Road will be closed for the event, for that weekend. A portion of West Shore Road from Happy Avenue to Hurd Road will be closed to allow for emergency access, and it's part of their traffic management plan. And then there'll be some other minor restrictions on roadways, which I'll read it in a moment. Is there any questions or comments from the board, traffic management plan, the Mystery Land event, before I get to the resolution? We have to actually do a traffic order to do this. So is there any questions from the board before we start? Dawn?
No?
Everybody okay? We have a resolution, it's an order. It explains, so bear with me for a moment. Resolution to adopt an order of the town board of the town of Bethel to regulate and restrict vehicle traffic within certain areas of the town between May 23rd, 2014 and May 26th at specified times. Whereas the town board of the town of Bethel created the Performing Arts Center Development District within an area of approximately 634 acres to facilitate the approval and construction of a performing arts center and related uses near and around the original site of the 1969 Woodstock Music and Arts Fair Festival. Whereas pursuant to the regulations promulgated for the Performing Arts Center Development District, Performing Arts Center LLC received approvals from the Town of Bethel Planning Board to construct the Performing Arts Center to be known as the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts. Whereas ID&T SF Mystery Land NA LLC has made application to the Town of Bethel Planning Board, special use permits for transient campground and amusement and outdoor recreation in connection with a concert event at the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, to be conducted on May 24th and 25th. The concert event will include camping for concert attendees. I'm thinking that should be from Friday to Monday.
23rd through the 26th.
Right, because the train,
The concert dates were right.
The concert dates are right, but.
in connection with the concert event, okay.
Yeah, the concert
connection
event
with the
is
concert.
on those 2 dates.
Very good. Whereas it is anticipated that the concert event will attract approximately 23,000 attendees. The applicant for the concert event has prepared a traffic management plan which recommends the implementation of certain vehicle traffic restrictions for certain roads located in the town. Copy of the traffic management plan is attached to this resolution and order as Exhibit A. And whereas the town board of the town of Bethel concurs with the recommendations contained in the traffic management plan. Whereas to promote sound government and to further the health, safety, and welfare of persons and property within the town, and in accordance with the authority vested in the town, included but not limited to applicable provisions of the vehicle and traffic law, town board of the town of Bethel adopts this order. Therefore, be it resolved that the town adopts the following order, and ordered, town board of the town of Bethel establishes motor vehicle traffic restrictions for the period beginning 12:01 on Friday, May 23rd, 2014, and ending on 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday, May 27th, on the following roadways in the manner as set forth. Here we go. West Shore Road shall be closed for all motorized traffic except for emergency vehicles, beginning at its intersection with Happy Avenue, continuing to its intersection with Hurd Road, which we've discussed. Best Road shall be closed for all motorized traffic except for emergency vehicles, beginning at the last parking entry located on Best Road and continuing to its intersection with West Shore Road. That's their second road closure. Except for emergency vehicles and Hurd Road residents. Northbound motorized traffic on Hurd Road will be permitted to proceed only as far north as the first parking entrance at Pavilion Road opposite the guard booth. Notwithstanding the foregoing, law enforcement personnel performing traffic control duties may allow vehicles clear passage on Hurd Road as traffic conditions permit. I just want to stop there for a minute. The way this is written, in other words, if you have a camping event starting on Friday night, there may be no need to have any restriction on Hurd Road, going north or south. So we've asked the state troopers to monitor that, and that's why it says as traffic conditions permit. Saturday morning, they may need to close Hurd Road. Sunday morning, Hurd Road. Monday morning, they're gonna play it by ear. I don't think it has to be closed that whole 4-day weekend, going either way. So that's why we put that language in there, aware of that. As traffic conditions permit, it's up to the state troopers and the law enforcement. Except for, second one, except for emergency vehicles, that's the same thing except going southbound, so I'm not gonna repeat that one. No parking, standing, stopping of any motor vehicle except for emergency vehicles and vehicles on official business along both sides of Hurd Road, beginning at its intersection with State Route 17B and continuing until its intersection with West Shore Road. That's normal for a concert event, if I'm not mistaken. No parking, stopping, standing of any motor vehicle except for emergency vehicles and vehicles on official business along both sides of Best Road, beginning at its intersection with Lehman and continuing until the point at which Best Road is closed to motorized traffic as set forth. No park on either of those roads. Further, the applicant Mysteryland Concert Event shall implement the provisions of the traffic plan attached hereto, which are not addressed in this resolution and order. Supervisor of the town is hereby authorized to request the DOT to provide there will be no parking, stopping, or standing of any motor vehicle except those vehicles on official business along both sides of State Route 17, 800 feet east of the intersection with 55 to its intersection with Perry Road. That's something we do in large concert events. We post 17B. Ordered that signs and markings shall be posted on all affected roads and highways affected by this order to be displayed on the dates and times set forth herein, giving notice of the restrictions set forth in this order, including signs indicating no parking, no standing, no stopping, one way as may be appropriate. Further, that order that vehicles in violation of no parking, stopping, or standing restrictions set forth herein may be removed from the roadway and stored at a site designated by the supervisor of the town of Bethel, and reasonable charges for the removal and storage of such motor vehicles shall be paid by the owner-operator of such motor vehicles prior to the release of such motor vehicles to the owner-operator thereof. Further ordered, any person violating any terms or conditions of this order shall be guilty of a violation pursuant to the vehicle and traffic law or the penal law of the state of New York, punishable by such fines and penalties prescribed therein. Said fines and penalties shall be in addition to the cost of any motor vehicle towing and storage charges set herein above. Further ordered, provisions of this order shall not affect any powers conferred upon any police officer to regulate motor vehicle traffic, pedestrian traffic, or to exercise his or her power under the vehicle and traffic law regarding the closure of roads or exercise of emergency powers. Further, delegation by the town board of the town of Bethel, the terms of this order regarding restrictions of vehicle traffic may be revised and further amended by the supervisor of the town of Bethel, and in his absence, any other member of the town board, during the dates and times set forth herein as traffic conditions may require to preserve the health, safety, and welfare of persons and property within the town, or to impose greater or lesser vehicle restrictions in the event anticipated attendance rises above, drops below the estimated attendance for the concert event. Ordered, and there's just a couple more bullets, the environmental review pursuant to seeker and its implementing regulations was undertaken by the town planning board, and acting as lead agency pursuant to seeker, issued a negative deck on December 13th, 2013. And the town board adopts the negative deck issued by the lead agent, and it is further ordered that in the event that any provision of this order is declared to be invalid or unconstitutional, such declaration shall not affect the validity of this order as a whole or any other thereof, part thereof, other than the part so declared to be invalid or unconstitutional. Further ordered, this resolution and order shall take effect immediately upon its adoption by the town board of the town of Bethel. Rather wordy there, Rob, but I'm guessing necessary and important. Questions or comments from the board?
The towing company, do we have a set towing company, or?
We do not. As far as I know, I've never been involved when the law enforcement tows vehicles. They have a list that they go off
They
of,
do.
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, they do.
So I've never been involved in actually picking out a tow company.
They alternate,
Yeah,
Right.
they have,
they
they have.
alternate,
So
they
yeah,
have to
normally I have not
alternate.
gotten involved in that.
It just said that it was the supervisor.
They have to
That doesn't mean I may not, but I mean,
the state police have to alternate the companies.
And the sheriffs
they
too,
use,
I
And the
think.
sheriffs do the same thing.
a battle every once in a while in that regard, regarding
Right, there
towing
is.
and who's getting it. Mr. Scott, would you have any questions, comments, or additions?
Not at this point in time, but I just want to thank the board for all their hard work and support of our economy associated with Bethel Woods and the economy of the county. And I also want to thank that the Town of Bethel Planning Board did a superb job of reviewing this project in the town. And I'm very proud of the good work that they've done under the chairmanship of Dan Getlow.
Very good, thank you, Alan. Let's do a,
I make a motion to approve.
yes,
I second.
motion by Vicky, second by Lillian. All in favor, roll call?
Mrs. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sturm?
Yes.
Mrs. Simpson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Hendrickson?
Yes.
Duly adopted 5-0.
And I maybe bear worth repeating, we're obviously trying to attract and accommodate the concert goers and the tourists, and at the same time, and equally important, is to minimize to the greatest extent possible the impact to our local residents. I believe all the agencies involved have the same goals in mind. So I have great faith that it's gonna be a good event and well-attended and a boom for us. Traffic management plan, thank you. Couple items. Let's do 8M zoning, planning board members went to training on the 15th. Division of Planning and Environmental Management, continuing ed for Sullivan County. They had training, which is seeker training. David Byron, Planning Board. Dan Bry, Zoning Board. Susan Brown Otto, Planning Board. Mike Casaro, Planning Board, Richie Conroy, Zoning Board, Jesse Comat, Zoning Board, Steve Simpson, Planning Board. They're suggesting 4 credit hours for this. Questions, comments, or motions?
Make a motion.
From Dawn,
Second.
by Bernie, all in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? I would just remind the board at this point that we did make a discussion, we had a discussion about training hours this year. And I think we all pretty much decided, I think we did it in writing, that if there are those on these boards that do not have their requisite training, they will not be eligible for reappointment. I think, we discussed that, and we made it clear to the boards. So I am seeing an increase in those that are going for training, but we just hope that everybody has their training. We have an item left on our town board agenda. It's from our bookkeeper, confidential secretary, Erin Lynch, and it's dear Town of Bethel Town Board. I am writing to you requesting to attend the 2014 Finance School in Saratoga Springs. This 2-day school, Thursday, May 8th and Friday, May 9th, will be hosted by the Association of Towns and the New York State Office of the State Comptroller. Both agencies are often cited by the town, specifically the bookkeeping office, for certain policies and procedures that municipalities are required to follow. With that said, the seminar will prove to be the most valuable in relation to tasks that I currently perform, as well as an education on related responsibilities that I am not entirely acquainted with. I have attached the agenda for your reference. Cost of the school is at a discounted rate of $200, and the town is a member of the Association of Towns. Hotel accommodations total $298 for the 2 nights. Thank you for your time and consideration with this matter. The town board has a policy on meals and mileage reimbursement that we would adhere to with this regard. I'm fine sending her for training. I think it's important to go with the continuing education, and I think this would be a great program. Finance School by the Association of Towns, I think would be beneficial for her in her duties. Questions, comments?
Make a motion.
From Bernie.
I'll second it. We've always supported the schooling of our employees, so.
Motion Bernie, second Vicky, all in favor? Is anyone opposed? Our town board agenda has been exhausted. What I'd like to do is we do board comments, and then we're going to public comments. So Lillian, you have the floor.
I, would like the board to consider something that I have to say. With this happening on Memorial Day weekend, the track opening up, all the other functions that we're going to have in Bethel, people going through Kamyanga Lake. Last September, the board voted 5-0 to get parking signs up in certain spots in Kamyanga Lake. With everything happening, it's been since September. I'm still waiting for the signs. I'm worried somebody's gonna get hurt there. I would like to ask the board to ask the county what's going on with our signs. Because, with all this other traffic, and now we have another restaurant there too. There's parking, Judith from the Fat Lady has her own parking lot. There's another parking spot. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and I want to see if somebody needs an ambulance, they could get an ambulance there. Twice I was there when ambulances had to be called. Once when a woman thought she was having a heart attack. She was sitting having lunch on the porch of the Fat Ladies, and the second time was when the kids got hurt on the boat there. And I think it's, if we ask for them, I don't understand. I think it's a dangerous situation. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've worked in the medical field for 26 years, and I am telling you, I don't want to see anybody get killed on that sidewalk by somebody with a big trailer to the car place going by and hitting the cars that parked there and going up on the sidewalk and then hitting the grass. I just don't want to see it. People may not agree with me, but I've always been a worrywart, and I believe that there should be some no parking signs there, and I don't know why it's taken the county so long to do it. I know we had a rough winter, but they had time before the winter set in too. And I think now, before Memorial Day weekend, and before the track opens up and everything else, we should really get some signs up there before somebody gets badly hurt. And not that I'm not in favor of what's going on in Bethel Woods, because I support anything that helps the economy. I love going to Bethel Woods. I'm sure people from all outside love going there. And I think we need to protect the visitors besides protecting the residents. And this is the reason why I ran for the town board, to protect the residents of Bethel. And the parking there is
Yes.
ridiculous.
Well, if I may, Lillian, I would like to back you up on that. The request was made by this town board. It was a full board, a 5-0 decision.
There was one different person on the town board.
Right,
that's
but it
all.
was a 5-0 decision at that time to get that. It was all a matter of safety. The spot that Lillian's talking about is right in that very narrow section. It's right by where the bakehouse is over here, the fat lady is here. And there's a very, very narrow section of road there. And when you get the trailers going through up to the speedway, or any wide trailers going through there, it provides a very dangerous situation. So we had sent in a resolution, or we sent in a resolution, I believe, to the county, that was last year, asking for no parking in that one section. And we're still waiting. Now, we understood the winter came, but I know I've made some phone calls, and I've been promised that they're going to go up, and they still are not.
And it's
So
been.
I would support that we.
It's been since
Remind
last
them.
September, and not only the trail is going up, what about the trucks that deliver there?
Sure.
And the trucks are delivering on the street, and now there's another restaurant there that seems to be busy to me. I don't know whether it's my imagination,
Not a doing
but
pretty
I think it's gonna hurt all the restaurants, not just one restaurant. But if my husband could walk across the street, anybody could walk across the street. And I think it's a better thing, because this way, if there's no parking there, you could just drop somebody off for a minute that's handicapped and then go and park yourself. So I think it's even better for people like me right now that can barely walk. But
Okay,
I think we need to do something.
Any other comments, Bernie, thoughts?
Well, basically the same thing. We have, we went over it about 82 times, and, it is.
We measured everywhere.
We did.
We
We've
did.
been
That's
there,
Uh,
we've
It's
talked.
been an ongoing thing, progressively, as the years went by, it got busier. So there is a need to put some signage up there. And I think we should start talking to the DPW commissioner and see what he wants to come
Just
up with.
as a way of an update, I don't mean to interrupt you, Bernie.
Okay.
As a way of an update, I have talked to the county numerous times. I have gotten some phone calls back, some not, the weather's bad, this, that, the other thing. I'm not sure that they are on their way to put those signs up. That would be my personal feeling. I don't know that they're coming. So my question would be, can we not send another resolution?
That's my
We send them a
idea.
map, right, Rita? You were kind enough to send them a map where we suggest a dangerous area exists,
I
and
would-
ask them once again. Rob, for you, question, it's a county road. And so we are, if I'm not mistaken, we are allowed to send them a resolution from the town asking for parking signs, it's
Sure.
standard.
Sure.
But they also have, can they say no?
They
'Cause
can say
obviously
no, it's a
they
county
could say
road.
no. Do we have any recourse? Can we put up our own signs?
Vote them out of office.
Well,
We have to wait 2 more years.
Then it won't be enforceable. So if
Alright.
you see 2 no parking signs by order of the town of Bethel, you're saying they might not be enforceable.
That's correct.
And the resolution we're sending is also as a matter of public safety, so we will be
No, I
putting
mean,
that.
I understand.
Come on, it wouldn't be the first time a sign went up
Yes.
that,
Yes.
Okay, so you're suggesting that's not, might not be the best avenue?
Self-help with your own sign, probably.
I would like another resolution sent, and I would like them to understand, and I've tried speaking to a couple of them and telling them how important it is to me to protect people. And I would like to see them go up before everything that's going to be going on this spring
Okay,
and
so
summer.
if we can, again, a motion by Lillian to send either a new resolution or the same resolution, or a new resolution from the board for the same map, and ask them to at least let us know what their plans are, Is that okay, Lillian?
That's fine.
I have a motion from Lillian. A second?
Why don't you have the motion ask for a projected date when the signs would be?
Oh,
Yeah, that would
I was
be,
gonna put by May first,
Okay.
actually, because
Okay.
May, the whole month of May is so busy out here.
If I'm not mistaken, as Lillian stated, Brick House is open, Benji and Jake's is April 5th, Table and Tap is April 3rd. Fat Lady, I'm not sure, but they should be
18th.
open
I got that today,
18th.
the 18th,
So,
yeah.
you know, you're right, there's gonna be a lot of action. All right, so we have a motion from Lillian, a second, Bernie, I'm sorry, and we'll do a roll call vote.
Mrs. Ryder? Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Yes.
Mrs. Simpson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Hendrickson?
yes.
Duly adopted 5-0.
Thank you to the board, Rita
I'll
and
make
Rob.
sure everybody gets a copy of that letter with the map, too.
Thank you.
Lillian? You all set?
And I have nothing else except for that I've been having a lot of sleepless nights worrying about somebody getting hurt. And I don't, you know, it has something to do with the medical profession, I'm sure. But I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and I really want this done. And you know, I don't want no harm to the businesses. I like economy. I like money coming in. And to me, there's no other way because it's such a small area. I just don't know what else to do. I mean, when the restaurants were bought, they knew that there was a lake in back of it. So what else to do? I don't know, but try to protect the residents and the visitors. That's
Thank
all.
you. Vicky?
Oh, wait a minute, and we're collecting sewer again. Oh, and I have to say congratulations to the town workers. I think, according to my husband, he's seen Pat Cunningham plowing our road. Not one stone on my stone wall was touched all winter. First year, doesn't have to be rebuilt.
That's the first year in like 3 that they didn't
Three
knock
that
down
we
the
didn't
stone
have to
wall.
rebuild
Very happy
it.
about that, Lillian.
So am I.
That's good news.
Let's hope winter's over.
No,
Right, we still have a few storms left. Vicky?
It's that time of year again. I'll just go over a couple things from our youth. Kathy McFadden has given me some reminders. Tonight, there was another registration for our all-day camp. This year, they are limiting enrollment in the all-day camp to 40 full-time slots. Now, they've already had an enrollment for the Bethel residents. Tonight was again for Bethel residents and non-residents who were returning enrollees. And from here on, registrations will now be accepted at Town Hall starting tomorrow. They haven't been accepted until now, trying to give our Town of Bethel residents and the returnees the best chance to get back in, because again, it's filling up quickly. Non-residents and new enrollees, the registration date is Wednesday, April 2nd, from 6 to 7:30. Anybody knowing any kids or any families that want to participate, this is a great program. It's a great deal. If you are a resident of this town, for an all-day program for 7 weeks, it's only $700 for your child. And anybody that's priced out camps, it's a great deal. Non-Bethel residents, it's $750. So if you know people with children that want to get involved, it's a great deal. Coming up, April 19th is our annual egg hunt. It's going to be right here at the Duggan Community Center. 1 o'clock, it's rain or shine, and you're supposed to bring a basket because there are prize-filled eggs, and hopefully members of our town board will be in attendance for it's a fun event.
It was fun
And we've had a
last year.
lot of kids that come out. Sometimes the Easter Bunny even shows up
Yeah,
and
the Easter Bunny.
hands out eggs
Last
or
year she was
candy
cute.
to the kids. Again, and then coming up in May is our Community Pride Day, which we've had now for several years. That's going to be Saturday, the May 17th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you have an organization that has something to sell, we have tables available for vendors. And the form for that is available on the Town of Bethel website. And there is going to be a cookie baking contest for all those that like to bake. And one of the last things I have, Matt McCauley was a young man who was killed in an accident in this town. And his dad runs our Taekwondo program in the town of Bethel. They're doing the first annual Matt McCauley Taekwondo Tournament this Saturday, March the 29th. It's at 2 o'clock. And it's open for participants only to the Bethel Taekwondo students. And they're competing in 4 different events. Anybody is welcome to attend. Any donations that you would like to make go for teaching and supplies for our Taekwondo program. And April 1st is the deadline for our summer job applications, which are a little scarce this year. So if you know anybody that's looking for a job over the summer, April 1st is the deadline for that. And I think that's all I have.
And because Vicki
Yes.
mentioned about the camp, and there's a Bethel Lions member here, and last night we voted, we don't know whether it will be for a half-time student or a full-time camper, but we voted to have Dina find out for us somebody that can't afford the camp, and we have decided to pay either half or full. Marcia's here, she voted.
Terrific.
Our supervisor's here, he voted on doing it. They were asking for a child to go to Force Rally, and we all agreed that we'd rather help somebody in our own town to come to camp here. So look forward to
Okay.
finding someone.
If you know of
Marcia.
someone who
If you-
can't afford it, save the spot for them, probably half time, I would guess. but I'll
Kathy McFadden,
Talk to Kathy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kathy.
I was gonna leave it in her hands as to, because that's not always an easy task.
Right.
People wanna help, but to pick somebody is not always an easy
Yeah.
task. So she would know, based on her experience, on who the needs are and the right price and that kind of thing, so.
I do have one other thing I forgot to say. So Kathy wanted me to mention that for anybody that's interested in Zumba, we do have Zumba starting Saturdays. They're 9 o'clock in the morning in our gym, and I have been told that this is a multi-generational class. We have children aged teenage years all the way up to people in their 70s, so it is never too late to start doing Zumba, getting in shape. It is free to our town of Bethel youth. The first class is free, and it's $5 a class thereafter. They already have about 10 to 15 people attending, so if anybody's interested in getting into shape for the summer, just feeling good and having fun, come on out to Zumba in the gym. That's all I have.
Thank you, Vicki. Bernie?
Yes, Highway Department. Well, they're out there doing the right thing. Billy Crumley's been keeping a close watch on all the potholes and all the ditches and pipes and trees falling on the road, and hopefully he'll keep doing a good job. So we'll just leave it at that, I guess. Everything seems to be going okay.
And just for the record, he does know that we were doing a budget modification tonight.
Yeah.
So, no, we didn't just try to do it because he wasn't here, he knew what was coming. So we're working together on that. Yeah, so. Dawn?
Well, I know the snow's still out there, but this weekend my husband and I went to the Sullivan County Sportsmanship Show at the college. And it gets you into fishing and kayaking and biking and all that wonderful stuff. But it came to my attention that our constables that are on the lake in the boat do not have safety vests provided for them. And besides it, I mean, we all know how busy that lake has been getting. And I don't know if it's our budget, or maybe we could reach out to an organization or the state. I don't know.
They don't have what?
Safety vests, life vests?
Life vests?
Yeah.
They don't have
Under
life
the
vests.
They have to have life vests.
Yeah, they do.
They have to have life vests.
Yeah, but they want ones that they have to wear
They want ones
in
that
case
are
they hit the
form-fitting,
water.
that they can wear all the time.
They probably want the shallow ones that they can inflate if they go over.
Right.
Right, that's what they were.
Because the ones that
Wait.
they have now are the puffed ones, they're puffed ones and you can't wear them all day
We
long.
will bring it to them as an option.
We can research, maybe the sheriff's department can help us out
Yeah.
because they have the border patrol, so we can, yeah.
Would they wear those, Raymond, do you think, on the boat?
The flat
Puffy ones they won't
They
wear,
won't
I
wear
never
the puffy,
wore
but
one.
There's, as long as you have them in the
They're
boat, you don't have to
form-fitting.
wear them,
Well,
unless you're under a certain
Yeah.
age.
Well,
There's
who
been-
bought it?
Let me tell you, the experiences I had, that anything that goes wrong in a split second. So if you have the right equipment on, you don't have to think about putting one on.
Okay. Very good.
I got a,
Yeah,
just gonna
Bernie?
ask something. Dawn is the zoning board liaison, and, to date, I believe, she hasn't gotten any of the maps, for the, projects that have been going on. So, what's with that? That's the zoning board chairman,
Well, if,
What do you mean?
provide that?
sure,
Any of the maps that, you know, like you get planning board maps.
I
you
get
know.
them at the meeting.
Yeah, right.
I get them at the meeting, that's when I see them. Unless I go in and ask BJ to see them, and then I can
So
go in
at the
and see
meeting,
them.
I just asked for
Yeah,
one?
well,
exactly.
actually,
They've always provided me with one at a meeting.
I would
I asked
suggest
for it.
that, either you as the planning board, or you as the zoning board, or any of the board members, if they wanna go review what's online for the application for zoning or planning, go to the building department. And you have more, you know,
I know, I
give you a
know.
nice seat with a desk, and you check out anything you want, but if you want an actual copy, you ask the building department, and you should have one and see it.
I know this is the first zoning board meeting I missed, but I know whenever I went to the planning board meetings, I know our friend over there. And the attorney always hands Vicky one.
And the only reason I say, I think normally the applicant is required to make 7 copies, is that right?
If they're doing more PDF files too, and Dawn could just be added to the list of PDF files.
Yeah. So that's something that you should have whenever you want. All right, Corinne, is that good?
Yes, thank you.
Dawn, you all set?
Giving you the papers.
You all set? Public comment, left side, Mr. Scott back there, things good?
I would request a time slot at your next town board meeting, if you can accommodate the IDA for a presentation regarding various things that the IDA is working on, and we'll also present to you different projects that the IDA has approved recently. But basically, give us 15 minutes and we'll get you up to date on the economy in Sullivan County as it relates to IDA activities.
Duly noted, and thank you, we look forward to having you.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for coming tonight as well.
Thank you very much.
Bob?
Yes, it's so good to be back.
Yes, welcome.
Number one.
There it goes.
Number two, just to follow up on the highway department report, it was noted this week that the town highway department was out, and they actually, looks like they cleaned up all of Smallwood. They may have missed a couple of spots, but looked to me like they took care of all the debris on the side of the roads and the corners, and it looks really good. Of course, it makes it so good that some people already decided to deposit more garbage where the space is now cleared. Unfortunately, you know, we have tires and things that all of a sudden appeared, but they just finished a nice, great job all through Smallwood. Secondly, I have a question regarding something that I may have missed. Obviously, I haven't been here in a while, so it's very possible that I missed it. And it has to do with Mystery Land or any other type of project. And I know Mr. Scott is very concerned about economics, as we are. And one of the things that I see, and have seen since I had a lot of time being at home, looking around and seeing reports from various places, that, for instance, the casinos that are planned to come into Sullivan County, in many cases, there's a fixed schedule of money which must come to the communities in which the casinos are going to be sited. And they go down as you go out. As the circle goes out, the money's become a little less and less. But there's a fixed amount because the services are being used in that particular area. Now my question is, and maybe it's already being done, Mystery Land is going to take up a lot of resources for, it's a weekend. What are they contributing back? Because if I'm looking at the ticket price that I saw, from $200 to $500 a ticket, there's and with 20,000 people, just multiply and look what your math shows you. And if there's an amount of money that's coming in at that rate, at a percentage coming back directly to the town, we go a long way in offsetting the sand costs, the highway costs, and all of these kinds of things that are being used, and even the cost for people to be working, constables and whatever else on the weekend that's being planned. I think that's a shared value that is important, that the community would benefit from tremendously, and I don't know if it's ever been looked at very carefully, other than the fact that we have an event, and it seems that it's wonderful, but what does that event give you directly? And I know people tell me, and you've heard it over and over again, the local businesses, oh, they do well. And I'll tell you, we've gone to lots of local restaurants, and a few of those restaurants have said unanimously, they don't get anybody. They go right by because they won't stop, for instance, and I don't want to pick out Bethel Woods or somebody like, but I'm looking at the facts of highway traffic going along 17B. Nobody's going to get out of line and go in and get gas and then wait to get back in the line again to get out there on a busy weekend. So you've got these problems. So I think there's a resource there or a source there that is not being, maybe it is, maybe you're doing, I don't know about it. But if it's something that is available and it's a money-making event, which it certainly is, and they seem to have a lot of money involved with those ticket prices, that something should come back to the local community in which they're enjoying that weekend. And I think that should be looked at more carefully if it hasn't. And I don't think it's the idea that you're going to scare people away. They won't come in because they're going to be told that they have to give money or something to the community in which they're spending their time in. But I never heard anything like this before. I know the casinos do it, I know the horsemen get it, and I know there are other economic, New York City gets it, when they run concerts, they get all of a percentage of whatever the revenues are from that outfit that runs the operation. And the local, it offsets the local costs. And that's what we should be doing. I mean, our taxes are going up, and with the expenses you just listed tonight, Dan, everything went up. Nothing went down. And if it doesn't go down, people are not going to be able to live very comfortably around here. I mean, I'm paying now taxes more, almost as much as I paid when I lived in Yonkers in Westchester County. And it's to a point, we got to stop giving away everything if there's something there that we can at least negotiate. What do they can come across with? But I never heard anything, and I don't hear anything. So, but maybe you are. And as I say, I haven't been around, so maybe I missed a few meetings. Maybe these things were discussed. I'm not sure, but I would lay that on the table as something that's important. And if you're going to use these things, I think they should participate in the community. Stop saying, oh, they're going to stop and buy a bottle of soda in a local store. They're not stopping to buy a bottle of soda. It's a self-contained unit, from what I understand. When they go in there, they stay in there. They don't come out, for the most part. I don't want to start off, no.
I understood.
It sounds like, it's not negative. I'm looking at a positive here. But we can get something that's available and this community can benefit tremendously from.
Bob, if I may, just a couple things that you brought up. One, a lot of people have difference of opinion on the value of, for a mystery land to come here to Sullivan County, obviously. And the second thing would be like an impact fee is what you're talking about. If I'm not mistaken, Rob, if I may, we've had discussions over impact fees. For example, there's been brought up for years and years and years. Why don't we give $1 a ticket? Why don't we get $2 a ticket? Isn't there, I mean, if that was to be done, I believe it should have been done when they first came here with an agreement.
I agree with that. I agree, and that's why I say I don't know if anything had happened then.
Well, we discussed it.
But maybe it's too late now for that.
Well, Rob, we have discussed it.
There's two ways to garner income for the town for projects like this. The first of which is the assessment of a tax on the sale of each ticket. You can't do that without state legislative approval. So the fact that the town may desire that, unless it's willing to go to the state legislature and ask for the adoption of legislation to tax the tickets fees that are sold to produce income, The town can't do that unilaterally. It has to go through the state legislature. The second way to do it is have a community benefits contract where the contractor pays a community benefits fee. Typically, that's done when there is a big project coming to town, like a casino, a solid waste plant. They do it for energy plants, windmill, wind farms, a casino. They don't do it for two-day concerts typically. If there were gonna be another performing arts center within the performing arts center district, and someone came and wanted to build another big project like that, we may be able to interest the developer in entering into a development agreement by which they would provide some community benefit, either in improvement of services or cash. Other than a voluntary gesture like that by the developer, you have no legal mechanism to exact money from a developer, unless it's through the tax that I first mentioned.
And on,
I don't think.
yeah.
Can I
Yeah,
say
go ahead,
something?
Vicky.
I just wanna say, and I know you mean well, and I know what you're saying, Bob, but I also know that you support the idea of Bethel Woods and all that it does do for the community as a destination, and how it does employ quite a few of our people here. And it does, I mean, their lineup this year, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but
It's fantastic.
it's the best I've seen. I'm the best I've seen. And it does bring people here on a more regular basis, and they will use our gas stations. I live in Conneaut Lake, and when there's a concert, that place is filled up. It spills over. I'm not gonna say that everybody benefits immensely, but everybody benefits to some degree. As far as an impact fee, we have discussed it over time. We didn't do it in the beginning, and so we haven't. But I would have to say that the benefits of being a destination town, I think that our reputation has soared with Bethel Woods. When I talk about Bethel now, people know us. I know you're not. I'm just saying, I think that it has spilled over economically in many ways. I do. I truly believe it has. From the time that I wish when Vasmer's store was open, that we'd had a Bethel Woods already in place, because there might still be a Vasmer's store in town had it been there. I don't know. I can't say that. But I do see that it has economically spilled over, and I have to say, I think in a very positive way. And I know that you know that. So I know what you're saying, but I think.
My point was not
Yeah,
from that point
yeah.
at the beginning. It had to do with the event that's coming, and for if I do remember, I think they said that it will be a yearly event if it
Well,
does
we'll see
work
how it
out.
goes.
So that if this is going to be, it's going to be more than just a one-time affair. It's going to be something down the road that could be looked into as being, and you have pilot programs in the tax, situation where you get payment in lieu of taxes, where they pay, they don't have to, but they pay, or they don't pay the same rate on the assessment value. So a company like this is bringing millions of dollars on this event. This isn't just chump change. This is a lot of money at $200 to $500 a ticket. At 20,000 people, at least, is going to bring in a few $1 million. And from there, a little bit thrown back to the town would make a big dent in public relations, number one, and impacts on the economy, number two, as far as the town is concerned, with the people of the town. Everybody would then benefit from it. And it would be a partnership from that point of view. I look at partnerships that way too. Not just going one way, that it comes back too. Just doesn't happen on a one-way street.
Bob, there's probably a lot of people that could describe the benefits of the Bethel Woods or the Mystery Land event better than I, but I look at it from a town perspective, right? I'm not looking at it from the county, I'm not looking at it from the state, I'm looking at it from the town. There is directly a benefit to the town for Mystery Land. For example, the resources that we have to lay out for Mystery Land, other than inconvenience of some roads and that kind of thing, the resources that we put out, we don't have our constables there there's not that many additional resources. We have our regular police patrol and that sort of thing. But the benefit really is, when you say $4 or $5 million event, the benefit is a sales tax for the county, for example, which we benefit as a member of the county, but the town does not get sales tax. If we were to get a portion of the sales tax for these type of events, but the county gets it, in other words, that's my point. The county gets the sales tax. Our resources are not that exhaustive additional for these types of events. And the only other thing is, I just think by them coming here with 25,000 people 4 or 5 days in a row, it allows the local businesses to have the opportunity to prosper. Do they all? No. Do they? No. Do they stop it? No. But they have an opportunity where they might not have had it before. So that's just an opinion.
That's an interesting response to it, but I still think that when you're negotiating for some operation that's coming in, you look for the town first to see what they can get out of it, and if it can benefit the town, that's what you really look for. If you just keep giving away or not benefiting from, and I know Bethel Woods has nothing to do with the discussion it is. It just happens to be there. That's all it happens to be. And of course, they are using, whatever facilities to a degree. But still in all, there will be an impact. If you're gonna tell me there's not gonna be an impact, even with 20,000 people, I think you're dreaming. I think there's going to be, and it's going to be, my prediction is going to be a hell of a lot more than 20,000 people based upon the internet, based upon the type of world we live in now. This thing is not small, and it's going to bring in a lot more people, and you may have to handle that down the line. And of course, we talked about that a long time ago. But I still think there's something there that could have been brought back, and especially since you talked about all the deficits that the town is facing right now, that you have to bring money from column A to column B to cover probabilities down the road. So, I mean, that's my point of view as a citizen to a group that's responsible for the economic development of the town.
And all, Bob, separately, as far as the deficit that we talked about, the reason that we did it tonight, just as a side note, is because we do have the resources available, so we're not in the deficit. We don't want to hit a deficit by the end of the year. So, in other words, we're recognizing it now. We got a problem because of the snow removal. We're going to address it now and act accordingly for the rest of the year. So the ultimate goal is not to have any tax increases next year because of something that may have occurred this year. That's just a side note. Okay, that doesn't answer your question. Michael?
Bethel Woods is non-for-profit, correct? So whether they're in the red or the black every year, who knows? If they're in the red, how much more are you gonna squeeze out of them? And then, like, is the racetrack non-for-profit?
No.
And they give school tax and all that, right?
You mean the Monticello racetrack or
Yeah,
the local
yeah,
racetrack?
the Monticello Raceway, yeah, Monticello. Isn't that what he's talking about, or is he talking about the racetrack, the auto?
Oh,
So he's talking about the Monticello Raceway.
motor car, right?
No. When I mention the track, I'm talking about the horsemen in Monticello get a percentage of the Racino money.
And they're for profit,
That's
correct?
given, they operate under that benefit. In fact, they're arguing right now that they're gonna get a cut. And the horsemen are afraid that if they get a cut, they can't operate, and they're gonna close the track. They're not gonna move it to the Concord, as a possibility just came up. So there are ways in which organizations do work with each other to try to help out with the economy, and that's one of them there, not the motor track out here.
But that's not the village of Monticello. That's all decided,
Thompson.
it's all decided at the state level. How the Racino resources are divvied up and how they're
Is the
applied.
fantasy
Well,
land
why is that?
covered under the, non-for-profit?
I believe they're leasing it from Bethel, leasing property from Bethel.
Yeah, I don't think Bethel Woods is really involved with Mystery Land except for the fact that they're leasing their property to them. So if we're gonna look for money, we can't look for money from Bethel Woods,
No,
we'd have
it's
to
not
look
Bethel
for
Woods at all.
from
I don't
Mystery
know-
Land,
How does
okay?
he get bent out of shape like that?
No.
It amazes me. I say one thing, and all of a sudden we're talking about Bethel Woods. It's not Bethel Woods at all.
So in other words, you mean.
So please strike that from the conversation.
Yeah,
The
so in
larger
other words,
picture.
you mean
I mean,
van,
Right.
and we-
don't mix things up. I mean, it's bad enough as it is.
Okay, comments from the board, response?
I just
Uh,
wanted to make clear,
Rob.
you know, you can only ask people for money when there's a legal mechanism that allows you to do it. This particular, and Bethel Woods is very important here because this particular concert's occurring on Bethel Woods. So consequently, they don't need the type of town review that would be normally required of another applicant. The only reason that, and I may be wrong about this because I don't know much about this concert, but the only reason this went before the planning board was because of the camping aspect of it, because the camping's not occurring at the Bethel Woods site. And Dan, you know much more about this than I do.
Right.
So, you know, the municipality doesn't have much leverage here. These people could come in and put on a concert at Bethel Woods, which already has been approved for concerts. And it's not gonna come before the town board, or it may not come before the town board, because there's already a traffic order in place for Bethel Woods. They already have the approvals. So we can't say to them, you know, yeah, we'd like your concert here, but we'd like to enter into a developer's agreement where you voluntarily pay us money. They could say, we're not interested.
Bob, I just want to, one last thing, so, that I had thought of. So they go to the planning board for the camping event, and just as on the other side of the coin, what Bob is asking here, could the planning board have the ability to have asked for an impact fee for that 4-day concert event? Is that an impact fee of some sort? Is that a good question?
That's generally what
Okay,
I
and
was
what would be the answer to that?
presenting.
Okay,
That's
all
all
right.
I was presenting.
I knew that.
None of this, all this other conversation is extraneous.
So what would be the answer?
No, it's not
to that?
extraneous, Bob, because they have no
Yeah, it
legal
is.
right to ask for it.
Okay,
There
so
is
that was
no
my question.
mechanism in place that allows the planning board to say, give us money.
I'm not asking you to go up with a gun and say, give us money. That's not what I asked for. I'm talking about you negotiate with a program that wants to come into an area to which we have services to which they benefit from. Namely, the roads, namely, the area that we have to provide constables, or if you say no constables, the state troopers are still getting paid by somebody in the state of New York, my last knowledge, and therefore they have to get paid too. So, you know, I'm talking about something, yeah, you might be saying that it's too late to do it. I'll accept that. The fact is, if things do happen, and it is a destination spot, look to see what we can get up front rather than wait until it's too late and say, we can't do it now because, you know, we didn't say anything then.
And I think you're missing my point is, there's nothing in the town code or the state statutes that says the town can take your money to pay our
I
policemen.
didn't say take your money, Bob. That's not what I said, take your money. I said you negotiate with them so that they see it's a benefit to them that they would participate in a town activity which would benefit all, not to come up and take and say that we're gonna take 10% of your money or else you can't come in here. I didn't say that.
So what benefit are they contributing to, and how are they
They
contributing
could
to
give
it?
like a pilot program contributes.
The pilot program is just real estate
I
taxes.
know, but then I said like a pilot program.
And it's the
That they
payment
would
of
give-
money.
They would give the town $50,000 to go into their highway fund, example.
So that's taking money from them.
No, that you negotiate with them and they will say, yes, it's worth it for them. They're making $10 million to give 50,000. I'm just throwing numbers around. May not be correct, but that's the idea. But why is it that you're so reluctant to even broach that subject? That seems to me to be what is a troublesome aspect of it. And yet, everything does go up. All our expenses are going up. As a resident, that's what I'm concerned about.
Because, I'll give you an example. Under the sewer law, there is a policy where someone wants to build a new project, and the municipality says to them, there's an impact fee. This sewer plant we've been paying for 20 years. You should help contribute for that, and you should pay X number of dollars as an impact fee per unit. The courts repeatedly have struck those down as unconstitutional. You can't charge impact fees to people, whether it's for sewer, whether it's for road, any other type of infrastructure. You can't do it. And what you're asking the town to do here, but through this negotiation that you keep talking about, is to exact a contribution from someone who has no legal obligation to do so.
Thank you, Rob. Questions, comments? At this point, we do have a need to go into an executive session. We need to go into executive session on a matter of personnel regarding the Justice Court Clerk. And also, I invite our attorney, Rob McEwen, the Justice Court Clerk, and also the Zoning Board alternate member recommendation. That's a matter of personnel. So I'd entertain a motion that we go out of regular session, go into an executive session.
Motion.
Will be a few minutes. There may or may not be action taking after the executive session. Motion by Vicky,
Second.
by Dawn, all in favor?
Yeah.
And we need a roll call vote. Mrs. Ryder?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mr. Sturm?
Yes.
Mrs. Simpson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hendrickson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to entertain a motion to resume our regularly scheduled meeting for tonight. Come out of executive session, motion by Bernie.
Second.
I heard second by Dawn, all in favor?
Yes.
I'm going to read 8K briefly, vacancy on the zoning board of appeals. A meeting was held, this is from the chairman of the ZBA. A meeting was held on March 24th, 2014 to discuss the vacancy appointment for an alternate position on the zoning board of appeals. A quorum was present and the zoning board recommends Victor Cass to fill the vacancy with a term to expire December 2019. Any questions, please feel free to contact me. Thank you in advance for your anticipated cooperation. Questions, comments, or motions?
I'd like to make a motion
And what would that be, Dawn?
to appoint the person that they recommended, Victor.
Motion by Dawn to
Second.
appoint Victor Cass, second by Lillian. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Justice, next item, last item on our agenda for tonight, the Justice Court Clerk position. There's a need for a Justice Court Clerk in the Justice Court. It was advertised. The justices conducted the interviews. One of our own, Bernie, sat in on the interviews. Thank you, Bernie. And they make a recommendation to the town board. They have made a recommendation, which I believe we were going to act on. The justices have recommended that we appoint Samantha Tausma, Bethel resident, to the position of Justice Court Clerk, full-time. And the salary that the board discussed, it would be a full-time position. All personnel policy rules apply. A 35-hour work week, anything that's in the personnel policy would apply. I would ask that the salary be $29,500, full-time. Also, that we would waive an insurance, if there is a waiting period on the insurance, which I'm not sure is in our personnel policy, we would waive that so this person would be eligible for the single-family coverage without cost as any other employee.
That's health insurance?
Health insurance. Again, we'd have to check to see if it's, I don't know, I think there's a 6 months waiting, I'm not 100% sure. So we would waive that. $29,500 full-time, and we would I'd like to send a letter to the judges acknowledging their recommendation and our approval. Did I leave anything out, Rob?
I don't believe so. I mean, unless you want an explanation as to the role that the justices play in.
That would be helpful, yes.
Okay, under Town Law, Section 21, the clerk of the court of the town shall be employed and discharged from employment only upon the advice and consent of the town justice or justices. So consequently, the town justices conduct the interviews, review the resumes, and then make a selection from those who applied. And in this case, based upon the motion that's pending, the town board is about to approve, or at least about to vote on, the choice that the town justices have recommended.
Thank you, Rob. Just to be clear, in your opinion, can the town board say, hey, wait a minute, I want a different, person? In your opinion, will you do that?
Even though the town is the hiring authority, the law makes it clear that the town justices make the choice of the person to become the town justice clerk.
Okay, is that helpful, I hope? So on that note, we take their recommendation, we affix a salary to that position, and I would entertain motions to that effect.
Make a motion.
We have a motion from Bernie, entertain a second,
I'll second.
by Dawn, all in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Rita, if you could help me draft this letter to the clerk, to the justices tomorrow, we wanna make sure that we're doing everything that we should be doing. And thank you to the board. Brief announcements, do you have them handy, Rita? I pocketed
Oh,
the,
dear.
there's only a few left that we didn't do already. We told everyone which restaurants are opening, right? We did all that. Planning board meeting, 7 o'clock on the 9th of April. The bowl-a-thon for the Lions, 4/13. DMV, 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. on the 17th of April. All departments are closed for Good Friday on the 18th. Egg hunt, as Vicky explained. Zoning board, 7:30 on 4/21 if they have an agenda. And town board is next, the 23rd. We have no meeting in the beginning of April?
4/9.
4/9, town board, I
Yes.
missed that. And the 23rd. Entertain, yeah, Lillian?
Planning board's 4/8, right?
4/8.
Yeah.
Questions, comments, and
Motion to adjourn.
by
Second.
Vicky, second by Lillian, all in favor.
Yes.
And thank you to the board, and thank you everyone for coming.